guidelines, the Internal Revenue Code, Section 501c3. Blueprint North Carolina and the members of the coalition are strictly prohibited from participating or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. All Blueprint activities will be strictly nonpartisan. In addition, Blueprint activities will not be coordinated with any candidate, political party, or other partisan entity. I am your host, Dr. Eve, and we have a very special guest tonight. Front Porch Stories is a place of exploration for us to build relationships via the depth and breadth of the lived experience of the Black woman, her journey through life, business, and career, through the highs and lows that mold and shape her experience. That experience that is influenced by family, faith, education, community, and a landscape that is constantly changing by the decisions we all make every day as citizens. Tonight, I want you to tune in to our guest as she shares like, heart, comment, and tell us what part of her experience you resonate. At the end, we'll have questions and answers from our community as time permits. I introduce to some and I share with others. Celestine Davis. Good evening and welcome, Celestine. We are so grateful that you accepted the opportunity to share with us.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very honored to be here.
So just a little about, I'm going to let you share more about yourself, but I've known Celestine for quite a few years. She is an English professor at East Carolina University. She is all things love of media and film, and is very, very active in her community in keeping us abreast of mainstream media and developing those who are coming behind her. She sits on many boards and civic engagement activities within the community all around the country. So really excited to have her. And I want her to tell us a little about your work and your community involvement.
Well, the center of my community involvement always revolves around the arts. I've been the North Carolina Writers Network. I've been the regional rep for that since 2009. This is I think it's going to my second year as Vice President of Program for the North Carolina Porch Society. I've had my own groups as scribes and artists, which included writers and other artists that want to unite and collaborate and create different types of events and just ways of sharing their art and what they did. And also have which is my baby right now, which is the Down East Flick Fest, which is we're going to be having our 5th annual film festival this month in September 25th, 26th, and 27th. And so even before then, before I became part of the entities, which started when I was a teen as far as the Black Artists Guild in Kinston, North Carolina, that was where my heart always was. That's where I always felt alive. That's where our communities always came together, was with the arts.
So we talked a little earlier, and we talked a little bit about what it means to be a curator of media. Tell me a little bit more about that, because I was really puzzled. So I'm sure my audience would love to know more about that as well. What does that mean, curator of media?
To me, it's really a multifaceted kind of thing, because you curate different ways. You curate things in your heart, you curate things in your mind, you curate things, actually physically, and these days online. And I curate all those different ways because it's very important, because that really drives me. One, everything always informs the other thing. And so the stories that I hear, I look for those same stories in the things that I watch, the things I select to watch, because those are the things that's going to ring true. Because people's lived experiences always show up somewhere. And you have to see how they're interpreted, how someone else is putting their spin on it. And so to me, that's the things I enjoy. Those things that are rooted with a strong narrative, but it's always got to be a ring of truth. It doesn't even matter if it's sci-fi or whatever. It still is a ring of truth when it comes to humanity. Those are the kinds of things I like to curate, whether in any way that I can.
I thought it was interesting when you mentioned you can connect with nonfiction as well without the protection or vulnerability in fiction to make more informed decisions.
Exactly.
That
When
was, share with me more about that.
if you're doing a documentary or you're writing something that's autobiographical or even a memoir about yourself, you have to be careful about, people who are alive. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to expose too much. But if you're writing a fiction, you can go all out. You can tell so much truth. You can tell the truth that was not even spoken, but
Hmm.
understood. And so to me, that is the beauty of fiction, because you can create really more truth of the world sometimes in fiction than you can in those things that's supposed to be news like or journalism like or anything that's supposed to be factual, supposedly factual.
Right. So you're also a promoter of a promoter. So will you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, people always come to me and say, well, I wrote this book, could you provide someone to see that? Even when I did the film festival, the first person who won, which was two filmmakers, they wrote their mini film was Ghost, and then they developed into a full feature film, and and so they want to come back. We want a new audience so they can see how it's developing. And so I provided that with the audience a way for them to get the feedback they needed so they could create the type of feature that they wanted. So I'm always looking for ways to support